You know how they say cleanliness is next to godliness? What does that mean anyway? As a kid, growing up, I never used to question it because, well, I don't know why. Actually, I just didn't. The phrase connotated literal cleanliness. It was an adage used to get us to clean up, clean ourselves, clean house. But what if we were spot on with the meaning, but not necessarily the application? Because now, when I hear the phrase, I think clean heart, clean mind, clean spirit, clean, pure, available, and intentionality about what I allow to abide in my mind, body, temple, and the consciousness of what I put out. Turns out, that's close to the original intended meaning. That it's more than keeping your house and your body clean. It's about internal cleanliness. Jesus called out the Pharisees on this in saying, "You clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence. First clean the inside of the cup and dish, and then the outside will also be clean." Even the Jamaican prophet Sizzla Kalonji tells us to clean up your heart and come. So how do we translate the teachings of the King of Kings and the Crown Prince Kalonji into actions that embody the belief that cleanliness is in fact next to godliness? Through practicing spiritual and emotional hygiene, the sacred work of cleaning the inside of your cup, tending to your heart, your mind, your spirit, so that everything you pour out into the world is pure. We apply this meaning of cleanliness is next to godliness by keeping our inner world clean so we can stay close to God, close to our highest selves, and close to those we love and serve. When you're well within yourself, that wellness overflows to everyone around you. Your self care becomes family care and ultimately community care. Your healing becomes our healing. And for us, Black folks, specifically Black women, this concept is kind of revolutionary because we're often taught to pour out without filling up, to serve without tending to ourselves in the same way, to give and to show up for everyone and everything else first. But we can't stand on the front lines of our families, our communities, our race, or our faith without first facing what we carry and the work we need to do internally. This type of self care is the work of individual and collective liberation. Welcome to Even in the Small Things, a place for believers and non believers alike to meet, see, feel, and understand God. This podcast is here to help us realize how God is a part of everything, especially the small things. I'm your host, Jewelle. Join me in conversation to learn how I, along with some of my friends, mix the word with the woo to help us navigate parenthood, entrepreneurship, and Black womanhood. Whether you're pursuing creative passions or conscious parenthood, you will gain practical tools to help you discover the divine in everyday life. May this be a blessing unto you. Today's sacred text is, well, we have a few here. The scripture about cleaning the cup was from Matthew 23, verse 25 to 26. While that sets us up and provides a great foundation for our conversation, we'll draw connections to 2 Corinthians 10:5. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. And Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Now, this concept that it starts with the self is revolutionary because it's so contradictory to what we've been taught at home, at school, by society. We've been taught to feel guilty for self care or to believe that you're selfish for tending to yourself first and foremost. But let me ask you something. What's actually selfish? Is it selfish when someone demands that you make space and room for them at your own expense? Or is it selfish when you do what you need to do to fill your own cup first, having cleaned that cup, so you can then give freely and graciously to others in ways that keep you nourished? To me, the former, that first statement, sounds way more like the definition of selfish to me. Now, the second, that's what I want us to explore and consider: cleaning and filling our cups first, without that feeling of worry or panic that we're being selfish and run the risk of having our connection to others slip away. Because if it does, it was conditional anyway. So instead, let's approach this type of self care with a feeling of worth and deservedness, knowing it's a way to help us embody our God self and ultimately get closer to God. The challenging part of caring for yourself to this degree isn't usually the making the time or having access to certain resources. For many of us, the real challenge is the choice and the willingness to sit with the self. Now, if you're neurodivergent or working with diagnosed mental or emotional disorders, you know firsthand it can be way more complex than that. And I see you. Caring for yourself in this way is likely harder and a lot more involved than what I'm about to share. So consider this practice or this concept a complement to the clinical support you need and not a replacement. And that goes for everyone listening. Help yourself the way you need to be helped. My practices are by no means clinical support or mandated replacements of how you already care for yourself. They're just supplementary. For me, taking care of myself, tending to and nurturing myself, requires being disciplined and devoted enough to choose to give myself what matters most. And what matters most is my connection to myself, my connection to my God, my power, my joy, my peace of mind, my ease, my good feeling in my body, my soul, my heart, my mind, my well being, and my magic. A major part of that self care for me is practicing spiritual and emotional hygiene, which necessitates a willingness to recognize and come to know the not so shiny parts of myself and shine a light on them. Spiritual and emotional hygiene asks me to inspect these parts, observe them, and understand them so that I can know how to heal them, how to call them up, out, and forward so that I can tend to them. None of this is beautiful or easy, but it's necessary because that's what clean up your heart and come and cleaning the inside of your cup requires. Taking the time to clear, clean, and tend to the emotional and spiritual aspects of ourselves is what puts us in proximity to our godlike self. We are inherently divine, inherently godly. We are made in the image of the Most High. So, this type of work, this type of spiritual work is liberating because it helps free us from the beliefs, systems, and structures designed to distract us and disconnect us from that truth. So, what exactly is spiritual and emotional hygiene? Briefly touched on it, but it is the intentional cleansing of your thoughts, emotions, and energy so that you can stay connected to your highest self, to God, your loved ones, and your village, free and unencumbered by old traumas, triggers, thought patterns, and untruths that no longer serve you or those around you. It is understanding where you are spiritually, energetically, and emotionally, having an awareness of what got you to this place, knowing what you need to do to either maintain or shift your frequency, and then actually doing it. Spiritual and emotional hygiene is the daily practice of asking yourself, what am I feeling or experiencing right now and why? What energy did I pick up that isn't mine? What's the energy that I'm giving off? Is it appropriate for the situation? Or am I just carrying around or inserting some stuff that doesn't belong here? It's important for us all to care for ourselves in this way because in today's world, it's so easy to pick up things that severely impact us mentally and emotionally. We're so interconnected that just by opening an app on your phone, you can tap into and sync up with other people's fears, panics, sense of fake outrage or fake urgency, expectations, disappointments, highlights, you name it, instantly. You're in another energetic state than you were before you put your thumb to that screen. If we never take the time to acknowledge that and clean all that out, we become a walking mix up and blend of energies, emotions, and thoughts that weren't even ours to begin with. It's like this societal enmeshment that I personally want no parts of. And that's just virtually. Same rules apply to your physical world too. The folks that you interact with in real life, IRL, can definitely either help you gain or lose your aura points. Shout out to my brother in law for keeping me up and teaching me all about aura points, child. Because that's essentially what we're discussing here, keeping your aura points high, maintaining that glow. When your aura is strong, when your energy is clean and clear, you feel good. You move through the world differently. You're at peace. You're connected to your power. You're not easily shaken or drained. You're energizing those around you. And that's what it feels like to be close, to be in proximity to your divine self. So, how do we actually do this work? Through my four elements of spiritual and emotional hygiene: awareness, assessment, accountability, and attunement. This high form of self care requires deep self awareness, the ability to honestly assess the energetic situations you find yourself in, accountability, and attunement to yourself, your God, and those you're in relationship with. Starting with element one, awareness. Spiritual and emotional hygiene is first rooted in knowing your personal vibrational set point, or what I'm going to call your energetic home base. Think of it as your baseline mood or natural disposition on any given day. For example, when you feel off, the fact that you know you don't feel the way you normally feel means that you typically know how you feel on a normal basis. You're able to both notice and name the shift away from your regular mood, away from your energetic home base. That's awareness. Simple as that. You got to know you're normal to know when something's changed. Now that you've identified that something in your energy or emotions has shifted, it's time to understand what caused that shift. And this is where assessment, element two, comes into play. Was it something inside of you that caused this shift? Or was it something, or maybe even someone else? Perhaps you're feeling off because of an interaction you had with someone. Maybe a show you watched, a post you saw on social media. Or maybe because you're truly navigating something very challenging internally. Let me give you a scenario to help break it down. Have you ever been in a good mood? Let's say it's like girls' night, you're going out, and then you get around that one friend that just, like they're sad or they're upset or they're just plain old pessimistic. And then all of a sudden, their energy rubs off on you and you start feeling that way too. They straight up killed your vibe. The assessment element of spiritual and emotional hygiene helps you recognize that your mood shifted because of someone else's energy, which wasn't yours to take on and embody in the first place. When you know what your energetic home base is, you're better able to discern when you're experiencing energy or emotions that don't belong to you and how to clean them up. But what if they do belong to you? This practice is just as much about owning what is yours as it is about releasing what isn't. And this is where the practice levels up a bit because taking accountability for your energy is no joke. When conflicts or tensions arise in your friendships, romantic relationships, or community of any form, it's hard. It's real hard to call yourself on your own nonsense and say, wait a minute, my fault, I'm tripping. It's not even you, like, it's really me. It's my trauma, my anxieties, my worries, my programming that's affecting how I'm experiencing this moment. Wait a minute. The reason I'm ready to pop off on you is because I'm feeling overwhelmed, dysregulated, or threatened, or rejected, or disrespected, or flat out, this particular situation that we're in right now is reminding me of something that happened when I was 12, and now my flight or fight response is triggered. It don't even always have to be stuff from your past. It could just be very much how you're feeling in the present moment that has nothing to do with this specific situation that you might find yourself in or the specific person you might find yourself in front of. Catching that is one thing. Knowing that, accepting that, owning that, that's hard work. But it's this type of self accountability that helps us give color to and understand why we feel and think the way we do, especially in those moments where we do, in fact, feel off. You have to take the time to know what your internal terrain is like. Know the hills, the mountains, the peaks, the valleys, the lakes, the ponds, the little molehills that you often make into mountains. Know the texture of who you are internally and all that you're bringing externally. This is spiritual self care because you really have to be in an open, honest relationship with yourself to get into your own spiritual and emotional depths and familiarize yourself with what's there before you release it onto others. It makes you manage what's within you and helps you stop expecting those around you to manage it for you. What you don't take accountability and ownership for will be projected and moved somewhere else. And that somewhere else is likely your kids, your partner, your extended family, your team at work, shoot, maybe even folks that follow you on social media. So you have to catch it. Like our sacred text in 2 Corinthians 10:5 tells us, and I'm reading from the Jewel T. Brown version. Catch those thoughts and feelings of insecurity, of lack, of fear, of loneliness, of anger, of isolation, of questioning your worth, of jealousy, of resentment. All these thoughts and feelings that set themselves up against the knowledge of God, against the truth of your highest self, and make them obedient to your Christ like self. You ever see those pictures of a glowing Christ? Or angels with radiating and illuminating halos? Energy is clean. Auric field clear. Aura points on 100. Literally. Because your Christ-like self, your highest self, your God self, it knows all that exists within your spirit. It knows everything that's there. Knows what the inside of your terrain is like. Loves you anyway. And knows how to manage it and make it align with God's truth about you. If this all sounds new to you, trust is relatively new to me too. I went years, like adult years, Not being able to understand why I was feeling a certain type of way or why I'd be so easily influenced by others' emotions or why I'd expect others to make me feel better. We see this a lot in our closest relationships. In the first few years of my decade-long relationship, I struggled with emotional hygiene. I struggled with emotions, period. If, for example, let's say my partner were having a bad day and he were feeling down, all of a sudden I'd feel down too. Or accountability. If I were feeling insecure because of my own childhood traumas and experiences regarding relationships, I'd project them onto him and go into a panic. Not only was none of what I was insecure about actually happening, or frankly, even something to worry about, they really had nothing to do with him. But yet, I'd need and expect him to reassure me and make me feel better. Man, that's whack. Thank goodness I'm past most of that now. Because now, if I'm feeling any of these insecurities come up, instead of acting on them, I know how to sit with them and reframe them. I know what they are, where they come from, why they pop up from time to time, and how to shift them. Not only has my ability to do so shown me which areas of my life need more tending to, but it's also helped me become more cognizant of who I am, all that I carry, how it affects how I engage with others, and how I show up in the relationships that matter the most to me. By no means is this about being perfect or being emotionally mature in every single moment. Because sometimes you gotta let people know that you're neither the one nor the two. Okay, stop playing in your face. But it's about caring enough about yourself and those you're connected to recognize when something is going on in your inner world and sort it out before it seeps out into your shared outer world. All of these concepts made me think of Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, guard your heart, because everything you do flows from it. I'm certain the use of the word guard in this scripture is intentional. To me, the word guard in this specific context, it means to shield, to protect, to keep safe from all the things that could come in and taint your spirit and all that flows from it. This is what I base my practice of spiritual and emotional hygiene in. Some translations of the scripture define your heart as your wellspring of life. From an energetic and metaphysical perspective, that makes sense, since your heart chakra is where you feel, receive, and experience God's love for you, your love of self, and your love of others. So picture this: a heart that's open and receptive to all the good and beauty of the world that then redistributes that love outward. Now, picture a heart that's closed off, malnourished, or filled with worry, doubt, contempt, envy, or pessimism that then spews that negativity outward. Which one do you want your heart to look like? See why it's important to guard your heart, especially if all that you do flows from it? I want to lean into this idea of heart guardianship a bit more. I'm looking at it from three perspectives. Since protecting your heart and keeping your spirit clean isn't just about what you let in, it's also about what you let out. Starting with the first perspective of safeguarding your energy from others. This is where my favorite B word, boundaries, enters the chat. Not only is your energy expensive, but it is sacred. Your energy is literally your life force. So you can't just be dishing it and slinging it all willy-nilly. Every interaction with someone is an exchange. It's an energy exchange. It won't always be an exactly equal exchange because that's not how life or relationships work. So you need to be mindful and aware of those you're constantly interacting with, what you're exchanging, and how the interaction leaves you feeling emotionally, energetically, and of course, spiritually. At the end of your exchange with someone or time spent around someone, are you feeling filled up or are you feeling drained? Do you go from happy to sad? Or maybe the inverse? Do you go from motivated and proud to feeling guilty and ashamed after you're with them? Or do you feel uplifted and lightened every time you're in their presence? Same goes for that influencer you're following or that friend that you're only with on the socials. How does interacting with them in the digital world make you feel? How do you feel after you scroll on Threads or TikTok after 10 p.m.? Ask yourself these questions and allow your responses to inform where you need to put up some boundaries. And don't think of boundaries as a barbed wire fence. Think of them as a set of guidelines for how you want to be engaged with or how you want to engage with others. Long story short, protect your peace. If anything drains your peace or robs you of your energetic well being, note that and do what you must to safeguard your heart. Now, what if you're the one running your energy all ragged? What if you're the drama? This brings us to my second perspective of safeguarding yourself from your emotions. One of my hard learned lessons in life, and once again, shout out to my therapist because she probably tells me this just about every session, but feelings are not facts. I'll say it again and clarify what I mean. Feelings aren't facts. Yes, your feelings are real. Yes, they are valid. Let's create some space for nuance and accept that two things can be true at the same time. So while your feelings are real to you and valid, they might not always be facts. Your feelings are real and should be tended to and honored, but part of that tending and honoring also includes holding space for the fact that they may not be all the way true. So see them as information, very valuable information, but not instructions. For example, you might be feeling like a friend is hating on you. Could it be true? Yeah, it absolutely might be. Or, hear me out, it could be your personal experiences and your related stories telling you that everyone who doesn't fall at your feet and sing your praises without fail is a hater. Information, but by no means instructions to go press out your friend on why she's hating on you. That feeling or emotion that comes up gives you an opportunity to hold it up to the light and inspect it like a crisp $100 bill at the beauty supply store. While your emotions may feel very strong, allow them to show you the parts of you that need tending to before you choose whether or not to act from them. Guard your heart from yourself. Another verse, real quick. Jeremiah 17:9 says the heart is deceitful. Who can understand it? I'm not saying you have to double check every single feeling that comes up, but it might help to sit with the particularly rousing ones for just a moment or two before you flip out on somebody and all hell breaks loose. Thirdly, safeguarding others from your energy and emotions. Now, here's the part most people don't consider. When you take that time, the little 2 seconds I'm asking you to take, when you take that time to check yourself before you wreck yourself, you're also protecting those around you from the potential wreckage that might have ensued had you left those emotions unchecked. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. You know what I'm saying? But this is how you safeguard others from your energy and your emotions. This is where accountability comes into play once again. You know how they say that luck is when preparedness meets opportunity? Well, think of projection as when unhealed emotion meets an opportunity. It's us confusing our own stuff or putting our unhealed, unprocessed pain, emotions, fears, etc., onto others and expecting them to deal with it. Me putting my insecurities on my partner, projection. We've all done it at some point or another. Misinterpreting a text from a friend because you felt like that period was extra attitudey, or snapped at someone because a phrase they used reminded you of a low down, good for nothing somebody. Or maybe you thought your manager gave you that same look of disapproval that your mama used to give you when all she was doing was trying to understand what you were saying. It's really simple situations, simple things like that. Now, the aforementioned self accountability that seems to keep coming up in this conversation, that's what helps you prevent projection. Your mature self, your highest self, can catch it in a minute and stop it before it even bubbles out, escapes your heart, and causes damage you may not be able to undo. From this perspective, emotional hygiene is catching and owning your triggers before they become weapons you wield against those around you. No matter what, you cannot expect those around you to do the work for you. You doing this inner work is not just in service to yourself, it's in service to those around you. Again, your heart is your wellspring of life. So you have to guard not only what's going into it, but what's coming out of it as well. Awareness, assessment, and accountability help you keep that wellspring pure. Once you've become aware of your shift in mood or energy, assess the cause, taken accountability for what's yours, and released what isn't, then comes the fourth element of spiritual and emotional hygiene, attunement. Attunement is the act of getting back into harmony with your energetic home base and ultimately your highest, most godlike self. It is reconnecting with your true frequency, with your true vibration. If you've ever played an instrument, say a guitar, violin, or even a piano, after a period of significant use, the strings or keys need to be tuned in order to maintain sound quality, prevent damage, and ensure a pleasurable musical experience. We are the same. We need to tune, or rather attune ourselves every so often so that we can maintain our high spiritual and energetic quality, prevent damage to ourselves and others, and ensure a pleasurable relational experience. Talk about being an instrument of God. Now, here's where our traditional understanding of self care comes in because now you can do the things that help you feel good. If you haven't already, build a toolbox of practices that you can rely on to help cleanse your mind, body, and spirit. And depending on the severity of your energetic shift, have tools or practices of varying levels that you can reach for to get you back home. So, how does one attune back to their energetic home base? For me, sometimes a quick prayer, meditation, or walk outside may be all that I need. After a long week of mothering, partnering, serving, working, run me my bath, okay? But when I'm stretched all the way thin, a social media fast or a certain people fast might be one of my tools of choice. The key to attunement is knowing what works for you. What helps you reconnect to yourself, to your God, to your peace? Maybe it's journaling, maybe it's a walk in nature, Maybe it's worship music. Maybe it's sitting in silence. Maybe it's moving your body. Or maybe it's calling that one friend who always reminds you who you are. Whatever it is, identify it, honor it, and use it. But what if your usual mood isn't the best mood? What if your energetic home base isn't where you want it to be, let alone anywhere near your highest self? Attunement is still the key. You just have to find the right key. Try starting with one small act of self care that can help you either think of, speak to, or love yourself the way God would. Choose something that would help put you in position to hear God's truth about you. Be sincere and consistent in doing this one thing, and you might start to see subtle shifts in your vibrational home base, in your energetic home base. For me, when I've drifted really far away from my energetic home base and I'm in a funk for way longer than I personally deemed acceptable, it usually means I've drifted really far away from God and I need to make my way back home. So for me, my specific practice in that moment may likely need to be a flat out food fast to realign me with my higher self. But again, results may vary, so trust in your knowledge of you and reach for what elevates you, not temporary fixes. Remember, the goal here isn't perfection. The goal is connection. Connection to yourself, connection to God, connection to your truth. And when you reconnect to all these, everything else usually starts to fall into place. Okay, let's turn all this insight into something light. It's time for our practical tool. You can practice spiritual and emotional hygiene daily by using my 4 A's check in. It takes as little as 90 seconds. So you can do this when you wake up, before you go to bed, or frankly, any time of day, anytime you need it, because you felt yourself move away from your energetic home base. Here's how we do it. Take a deep breath and ask yourself 4 questions. 1, awareness. How do I feel right now? And ask yourself 4 questions related to each of the elements of this practice. 1, awareness. How do I feel right now? 2, assessment. What caused this shift? 3, accountability. What do I need to own? 4, attunement. What will get me back to my energetic home base? That's it, friends. 4 steps, 4 questions, 4 elements. This is how you keep your inner world clean. This is how you protect your heart. This is how you stay connected to your highest self. Now we have a fresh understanding of what cleanliness is next to godliness really means and how to apply it to our lives. When you keep the inside of your cup clean, when you tend to your heart, your mind, your spirit, you stay close to God. You stay connected to your divine self. When you keep the inside of your cup clean, when you tend to your heart, your mind, your spirit with intentionality, you stay connected to your divine self. You stay close to God. You remember who you are underneath all the noise, all the programming, and all the debris and residue that comes from being in this world but not of it. When you tend to your inner world, you're not just caring for yourself, you're caring for everyone connected to you. A regulated spirit creates safer relationships. A clear heart creates clearer communication. A healed you creates healed environments. This is how self-care becomes community care, where your personal, spiritual, and emotional hygiene becomes a form of service. We can't pour from muddied cups and expect clean water to flow. We can't change the world, we can't change our communities without first changing our inner world. We have to commit to and devote ourselves to the daily work of keeping our minds, hearts, and spirits clean through prayer, affirmations, meditating, dancing, moving, whatever practices help us stay close to God, close to truth, and close to our power. Remember, your wholeness is not selfish. It's the most generous thing you can offer. Your wholeness gives others permission to pursue their own. You cleaning your cup inspires others to clean theirs. So tend to yourself, guard your heart, do the work to keep your wellspring pure. Thank y'all. Thank you so much for being here, for listening, for opening yourself up to new ways of thinking and loving yourself and connecting to God. I see you and I'm proud of you for just even being willing to try these practices and explore these concepts with me. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone else who needs to hear it. Send it to your friend who's always giving of herself or running on empty. Share it in your group chat, post it to your stories. And if you want to go deeper, follow the podcast on social at Jewel T. Brown or at Even in the Small Things. Subscribe to the Substack where I'm sharing more tools and building a community of folks who are committed to being well. And of course, friends, rate and review the show. If you're listening on an iPhone, open up the show in Apple Podcasts. Leave me a review there to help others discover the show and help this grow. Until we talk again, take care of yourself this week. For real. Not just because you should, but because you're worthy of it. With tender, loving care. See y'all soon. All right. That's a wrap for this episode of Even in the Small Things. Thanks for kicking it with me. I hope you're feeling a little more connected and a lot more encouraged. Life's messy, but God's right there in the middle of it, helping us figure it all out. If you liked today's episode, go ahead and subscribe, comment, rate, and of course, share the episode. Until next time, keep it real, keep it light, and remember, God's in the details.